Hi, so we just finished with part one of the interview, and I just asked you, where did you go on from seminary and from college? Like
Right,
the next steps of your life.
right, great question. And, I guess the first thing I'd want to say is, it's been a wonderful journey. When I was 23, I think I was, maybe 20, or maybe I was 24 when I took my first job after graduate school. I would have never guessed when I'm 51, holy cow, that I would never look back and said, oh, I would have done that, and that. There's no way that, and I hope that that's true for everybody in life, that they can look back upon what they've done and find surprises. In fact, that's one way in which I think our generations are different. The vast majority of people I grew up with, from a generation that, had a career, one thing, maybe two things, but really one field they worked in, whether that was something that was supplying a service as an electrician or whatever, a farmer. Could have been a specialty thing, but they still just did one thing, and they probably lived in just one house or one town, and kept the same friends. I've lived all over. The churches I've served were in rural Maine. That was really cool. I had the privilege of winning a fellowship, leaving Princeton. That was a great honor to do some cool stuff, cutting edge mission stuff in Maine. Serving an inner city church in Charlotte, North Carolina. Serving a retirement resort community in New Jersey. That was really cool. Living literally 4 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean. That was really fun. And that's when your mom and I got married, even though we'd been best friends for a long time. We got married, and I served a church on the Jersey Shore, and that was wonderful. And then did new church development work. Started a church from scratch, 0 members. And that was, I tell folks, that was a little bit like reading a Dickens novel. It was like A Tale of Two Cities, the best of times and the worst of times. You were born during that time, and that was a great thing. But we were, it wasn't long after that your sister got really sick, and we weren't sure about her future, and so we both needed to not work full time. Thank God, she's healthy as can be. But I had the privilege of going back to that little town I grew up in. I would never in a million years guessed that, predicted that. But, it's like the MasterCard commercials. Having experienced the world, going back to a small town, that cost me a lot. Serving it in a setting that wasn't necessarily my first choice, that wasn't very good. But to have my kids grow up a block and a half from their grandparents, that was priceless. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. that for you all to get to know them when you were little. But we had made the choice to go broke. We had made the choice to go into massive debt, because we weren't sure about our future as a family. And we knew at some point that we would need to both work again. And so I had the privilege of working for our denomination, traveled a lot. That was the bad part. You remember those days, Duncan?
Yeah.
But it was a great job. And then Jennifer had the chance of coming up and serving this church in Western Springs. Great church. And I joined the staff at our seminary, our historic seminary down Hyde Park. That was cool. McCormick Seminary. And then now I work for the American Cancer Society and absolutely love it.
Great. So, from all these experiences you had in Carmi, and when you grew up, and then in high school, and all those things, could you tell a story about a time where you succeeded at something or you overcame an obstacle?
You mean from way back when, or?
Anytime, throughout your whole entire life.
That's a great question. Maybe one particular thing comes to mind, maybe another one will. So the first one that comes to mind is something from way back. Because I'm pretty sure I remember sharing that when I was growing up, one of the things about growing up in that little town was And how it impacted me was, you know, I love my brother. You know Uncle Jeff. He's the greatest guy ever. But it was really hard uh, because, you know, it's a tiny little town, so everybody knows everybody. And quite literally, he was the smartest kid the town had ever seen. And it, please don't take my word for it, you know. Every teacher that I ever had taught him, literally. And every teacher I ever had, literally, said, "Oh, you're Danny." But after they said that after they said, "Oh, you're Jeff's brother." You know, he was the smartest kid I've ever taught. And so that was probably said to me 500 times. And of course, he was the football captain and everything else. So my obstacle, my challenge was to, you know, to not want to kill him, but to want to, you know, embrace life, and especially to find my own way. And so that was an obstacle. And I don't think it was until I really made the choice to go to seminary, you know, and I put myself through graduate school, and I met all those really cool friends there, that I really kind of marked my own way in life. And now, as you all know, Uncle Jeffrey and I are inseparable. We're
Right.
such close friends. But so that's a story about me coming to terms with my own feelings, and not about him. He was always wonderful about it. He never did anything bad in relation to me in that regard. But me just growing up, it took time, and that was good. I think, you know, a modern day version of this overcoming obstacles, something I feel very happy about, is I'm really thankful for this new job I had, you know. Like maybe some of your classmates' parents. My last job, which I absolutely loved, was eliminated because of the economic
Right. The recession.
meltdown. And what I do is kind of specialized work, and so it was very hard, I thought, to find a job, and for point of fact, it only took me 6 months, so I feel very grateful about that. I found the perfect job at the American Cancer Society. I get to use my pastoral skills, but I really get to do all the other stuff I like to do as well as an administrator. And so that's just a great thing. I feel very fortunate to have kind of come out on top during a really rough stretch. So that's good. That's good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Duncan.